Good morning and welcome to your weekend healthy chat. I'm your host, Dr. Sara, and today our topic is on safety and security for you and your entire family. And here to discuss that with us is Chief Chad Stewart of the Eastern Pike Regional Police Department. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, it's definitely a pleasure to have you. So let's get started. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what got you into this line of work.
Well, I began my career about 16 years ago when I started with the Westfall Township Police Department. From there, I took a job with the United States Capitol Police in Washington, D.C., worked there for about 4 to 5 years,
Nice.
and then came back up here. An opening came up for the chief of police because the two towns of Matamoros and Westfall Township merged,
Right.
and I put in for that position, and they accepted it.
Great. And how long have you been the police chief in the area?
I've been the police chief since 2008, January.
Oh, God. So let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about home safety. So we're often hearing about break-ins, home invasions. What kind of tips do you have out there for our listeners for really how to keep the home safe, especially during the holiday season?
Well, the major thing is make sure your doors, windows are locked. Cars, windows are up, doors are locked. I know this time of year people like to put their presents in cars, to hide from the kids. Unfortunately, if somebody walks by and can see them through the window, you may
or
not
see
have
anything
that.
through the window, whether it's like an iPod that you left in there the night before, anything they could
Absolutely. There's people out there that don't want to go out and buy the presents when they can see them through the window and take them. And unfortunately, we have to protect ourselves against that. So the main thing is keep those windows and doors locked. For your home, if you have a security system, make sure it's set. If you haven't,
What type
get
of security
routine.
systems? Do you have like a preference or one that you recommend over others?
No, I don't have a preference. Just something that alerts the family for an intrusion. I would recommend adding the capability of fire protection on that as well, with a fire alarm system.
Okay, great. Now, what if somebody goes away on vacation? Does that change, or say they're at work? Like, I understand, like, if you're home and then there's a home invasion, hopefully you can get to the phone, call 911. But now what if you're away on vacation or at work? Like, is there anything different you recommend for those times?
If you're going on vacation or to work, if you have a neighbor you trust, make sure they keep an eye out for your house. If you're going on vacation, have somebody check the house every so often, bring in the mail, bring in the newspaper.
Now, speaking of that, do you ever advise, because we just recently went on vacation, and my husband and I always debate, do you cancel the mail? Do you not cancel the mail? For, like, when you're worried about security of the house, what do you advise to not cancel the mail and just have a neighbor or friend bring it into the house?
Well, if you're going to go away for an extended period of time, over a week, I would definitely think about canceling the mail delivery.
Yeah, or having it held at the post office,
Absolutely,
I should say. Yeah.
absolutely. But in the meantime, if you're going away even for a couple days, have somebody check on the house. Doesn't hurt. God forbid the roof decides to leak while you're gone, or pipe bursts. At least somebody's coming checking the house, not only for peace of mind as far as criminals are concerned, but peace of mind as far as just the house being vacant.
Do you recommend leaving like a light on maybe if you're...
Yes, if you have the capability of leaving a light on or having a timer set, I do recommend that. But one thing we do not recommend, and we see it more and more often, is social networks such as Facebook. Don't tell people on there that you're going away on vacation.
That's a smart idea, especially with the way everything is now. Everything's social media. So that is excellent.
Yes, I know people like to tweet everything they do. But,
Send like pictures of yourself in the Caribbean. Yeah.
but unfortunately, other people are looking at that.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, their house is open. Okay, great. Now, what about video cameras for surveillance? Do you recommend those?
Yes, if you can afford a video camera for your home, I would definitely recommend that. Technology today, you can view it over your iPad, your phone, and it's just another peace of mind.
Yeah.
You're down in Florida and you want to check on your house up here.
Absolutely.
It's basically just lifting up your phone and turning on that app.
No. And it's nice to be close to neighbors that can check in on the house at any point in time as well, just
Absolutely.
to have that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about personal safety when out in public. So I know there's always the discussion of where do you care. We were just in the city over the weekend. I had a medical conference, in New York City. And so we always worry about, like, where do you keep your wallet when you're out in public? Where do you keep your purse? Like, what do you advise for that, for public safety when you're out walking around the streets?
Well, when you're out in the street, just be familiar with your surroundings. Try to stay in a well-lit area. If you have your purse, try to keep it close in front of you. If it's draped behind you and you've got all kinds of other packages you're running, because that time of the year,
Yes.
Even after Christmas, you got the sales going on.
Yeah. Or my son who had to go to FAO Schwartz for the first time and ended up with 1 million toys. Yes. the
Absolutely.
packages were-
Absolutely. But you be aware of your surroundings. Wallet is kind of a preference thing. I've heard don't put in your back pocket, put in your front pocket. Me personally, I keep my money in my front pocket. My wallet really doesn't have much of anything except the identification purposes.
Right. Okay, great. Now, what about protection such as having mace? Like, say you're leaving the hospital at nighttime. I'm just giving it, for instance, from where I work, and you have to leave in the dark. What about mace, or whether it's self-defense courses? What do you advise for that?
If you feel comfortable, I would definitely recommend that you take a self-defense course. Again, it gives you more of a peace of mind. You're out there, you know in your back of your head you are capable of defending yourself. But that's a specialty course, and if you're going to do that, make sure you follow it all the way through. As far as carrying a mace or pepper spray, that
I've never carried either because I've always been so nervous. I don't know.
I don't want people out there being vigilantes either.
Right.
This is for protection, and there's different local laws, local ordinances, state and federal laws. So if you're going to carry that, make sure you are following that law, or you could be the one that gets in trouble.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. So you can't just carry.
There, some municipalities, some states that you cannot carry mace or pepper spray.
Okay.
So just be aware of what the law in your area is, and you always have keys on you. If you're walking to and from your car, have the key out ready to go. I know they have little flashlights you can put on your key ring. That helps. Stay in a well-lit area.
Right.
And that key, if somebody comes up and wants to hurt you or grabs you, can be used as a defensive weapon.
And how would you just carry in a certain way in your hand, or
just carrying it in a certain way, and you could definitely at least get the person off you for a moment that you could get away, scream for help.
Okay, perfect. Now, these are definitely some good tips. Well, thank you for those tips, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. We're here with Chief of Police Chad Stewart, and we were just discussing home safety as well as personal safety when out in public. So let's move on to automobile safety. So big thing, distracted driving. So whether that's using your cell phone, whether it's texting, social media, where do you stand on that? Like, what is the best advice for keeping people safe? Because there are so many distracted drivers out there.
My advice is pay attention to your driving, the cars in front of you and what's around you, and not your cell phone.
Yeah. Because so many times people you're stopped at a stoplight, you look over, and there's somebody on their cell phone.
That's correct. You pull up to a light and somebody's on their cell phone, or somebody is doing their hair or putting makeup on, or
And then I heard somebody was shaving while they're stopped at a stoplight. That is insane.
Yeah, it's a scary what people do.
Because you could cut yourself. God forbid the car behind you hits you. It's like, that is dangerous from a medical standpoint. Well, from all of it, I guess.
Sure, those people need to get up a little earlier so they're not racing to work.
Rushing. I know, exactly. No, but texting and driving, that's such a buzz right now. And I know it's against the law in New York. Where does Pennsylvania stand on it?
Texting and driving is against the law in Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania, there's a couple of loopholes that still need to be closed as far as, other factors while driving, including surfing the internet.
Ah, yes. I know in New York it's illegal to even have the cell phone out, correct?
Correct. It's illegal in New York to actually talk on the phone, where in Pennsylvania it's illegal to text, but as of right now it is not illegal to talk on the cell phone.
Oh, interesting. I'm sure that's just coming very shortly to make it illegal.
It is. Unfortunately, technology moves faster than the government does pushing the new laws through.
No, of course. No, but it's such a scary world out there, especially when, we have all this media, you want to be on the cell phone, and then you're also supposed to be driving. It's like, no, you need to pay attention to how you're driving. More so, Facebook can wait.
That's right. And there's more and more cars on the road.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
there's more and more new drivers, and
More and more accidents that you
that's
hear
correct.
of.
There's more and more accidents, and unfortunately, a large factor of those accidents have to do with driving while distracted. I know my department in particular, we target distracted drivers. We at least 4 times a year go after distracted drivers, whether it be because you're doing your makeup, or because you're shaving, or
Right.
simply texting on the phone. We want to make sure those drivers are paying attention to the road and what's in front
And so
of
how
them.
do you do that? Do you sit at certain locations and just watch to see who's coming through, whether or not they look like they're paying attention
Yes,
to
Tina.
driving?
Well, we put the advertisement out there first, make sure everybody knows we're going to be out there watching
Yeah,
you.
just checking.
We put the signs up on the side of the road. This is a targeted enforcement area for distracted drivers or
Good.
aggressive driving.
Right.
And then we put additional vehicles out there, and they're either at a stationary position watching you, or they might be pulling up alongside of you, looking over to see if you're texting somebody.
That's good. They should do that. Absolutely. Just to try to crack down a little bit on it all. So let's talk about seat belts. So what is your recommendation, whether it's front seat, back seat? I say wear them 100% of the time, no matter where you are located in the car.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous not to.
Absolutely. Wear them all the time, no matter what seat position you're in.
They save lives.
Absolutely, they save lives. And the statistics are there. You hear the stories about, well, this person, if they didn't, well, they're far and few between.
Right, absolutely.
Some accidents are just, the survivable rate, it just isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but statistically, you're safer having your seatbelt on, no matter where you are in the vehicle. If you're seatbelted as a driver and your rear passenger is not seatbelted, and you get into a car accident, just think of it as dice in a cup rattling around. That person is going to be rattling around the car, hitting other people that may be seatbelted. So not only the person that felt they were safe because the seatbelt was on, but they're now injured because their
somebody else
passenger wasn't.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of seatbelts, let's talk about, especially me being a pediatrician and dealing with car seats on a regular basis, let's talk about car seat safety. So what is your recommendation on where to place the car seat, all of that good stuff?
Well, my recommendation is anybody 12 and under, back seat is the safest place to be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay, wearing your seatbelt, whether it's in a booster seat or a car seat.
Right.
Make sure you're in the proper seating for your age group or for your weight group.
Yeah, and even, check with your pediatrician to make sure when is your child able to be turned from rear facing to forward facing, because we get those questions all the time, and you should absolutely check with your physician before you switch around your car seat, because it's a
Absolutely.
scary world out there, and there are so many accidents.
And there are, and some people say, we go by age, but the pediatrician would know because, some people are smaller for their age than the average child.
Yeah, even my little guy, unfortunately, we were in an accident a couple weeks ago or not even a couple weeks ago, week and a half, secondary to the road conditions. And my guy is still in a 5-point cross-restrained car seat, forward-facing behind my seat. And I mean, thank God he was. And he's at an age where if he was the weight that he should be at, although he's a little on the petite side, if he was, he could have been in more of a booster seat. But because he wasn't, we kept him in more of the 5-point system. And I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
Because we hit pretty hard, and he could have, you just worry, I guess.
Yeah, it's for the safety of the child. And I know there's some pickup trucks. People ask that question a lot. Well, I only have a pickup truck with a front seat. Well, in today's world, the newer pickups have a switch that turns the airbag system off on the passenger seat. So if you have to use the truck, which I'm recommending against if you have a car,
Exactly.
but if you have to use that truck, make sure that airbag system is turned off. Unfortunately, that airbag comes out at over 200 miles an hour when you're in an accident. And if it's impact with a car seat or a child, there's definitely going to be severe injury.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So still speaking of automobile safety and moving a little bit farther down the line, let's talk about, I know there was just a recent press conference for the DUI Memorial Moving Wall, if I'm saying that correctly. So let's talk a little bit about what that was and what that entails.
Sure. The DUI moving wall is a replica of the permanent wall that is in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. That wall represents over 1,000 names of victims of DUI. Not actual DUI, people that were DUI, but the innocent victims that were impacted by other people that were on the road drunk or under the influence of either alcohol or a controlled substance.
And I know you said there's over 1,000 names. Is that just 1 year? Is that a few years?
That's since 2005.
Okay. Wow. So unfortunate.
It is. And, if you add on the names of the people that were under the influence that did not survive, you're probably looking at several thousand more. And that's just in Pennsylvania. Now, if we go nationwide, it's definitely a severe impact. And there's ways of avoiding it. If you're going to go out New Year's or during the holiday season and you're going to drink, it's not against the law. Have a designated driver.
Absolutely.
Right?
I have so many times where, I'm just going to have one or two. Well, it doesn't matter.
Yes, our bodies react differently to substances that are put in there, including alcohol. And your body.
Right.
You know if one drink does to you, 2 drinks do to you. Get a designated driver. Be safe. Have a good holiday season. Take a taxi. Whatever you have to do to keep yourself, your family, your friends, and everybody around you on the road safe.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot say that enough because it is definitely scary out there. With the amount of new DUIs you're reading about on a regular basis, it's heartbreaking. It's something that is so preventable.
It is, yes. What we are seeing more and more is DUIs using prescription drugs as well.
Oh, yeah.
If you have a prescription that you're under and it says do not operate heavy machinery or motor
that
vehicles.
That includes a car.
It includes a car. Absolutely. And if you start feeling tipsy or woozy because of medication, you should not be out there driving.
Absolutely.
Either talk to your physician about getting a new prescription under a different medication that does not affect you as much, or don't drive at all.
Yeah. And again, have a designated driver if you know you're going to be on that type of medication.
Yes.
Now, well, this was great having you here. So I just want to say thank you so much. I hope these tips out there, I'm sure they're going to help our public and keep everybody safe and happy this New Year's season.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. And we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Now's the time in our show for the email question of the week. And this mom writes, Dr. Sara, I have a newborn at home and he is feeding 2 ounces every 3 to 4 hours. My mother-in-law seems to think that's not enough and claims every time he cries that he's hungry. He's been gaining weight well and has more than enough dirty diapers. Help. What do I tell my mother-in-law to get her off my back? I cannot tell you how many times my partner and I are asked this very question. First, let me start by saying you are his mom and your judgment is what counts. With that said, a newborn's stomach is the size of a marble. Think about how small that is. Now, that typically holds anywhere from 1 to 2 ounces. And as the newborn grows, so does his or her stomach. If fussing a lot after a feeding, you can always try to bump up the amount of formula you're giving. But if they start spitting up a lot after feeds, then you're likely giving too much. So it really is a delicate balance. And each baby is different. So don't let your mother-in-law say, well, my son at this age was at 4 to 5 ounces, because each one is different and each baby eats different amounts. So let your little one tell you when he is hungry and increase his feedings as he tolerates them. The fact that your little one is gaining weight with normal diaper output is the best indicator that he is getting the nutrition he needs. So I hope this alleviates any in-law worries. For those of you with further questions, please feel free to email me at drsara@middletownchc.org. Again, that's DRSARA@middletownchc.org. And if you have concerns you'd like to discuss in person, please feel free to stop by. We're located at 140 Hammond Street, Port Jervis, New York, the Port Jervis Center for Primary Care, where we are always accepting new patients. As always, have an active and healthy week ahead, and I'll see you again next time. Take care.